The story starts as a high school boy named Hayato-kun was having a dream where he sank on the bottom of the deep sea. As he heard a voice calling, he opened his eyes only to find two beautiful maidens with ginormous melons. They extend their hands wanting to help him, but to his horror it seems these sisters has the love deeper than the sea as they obsessively dragged him further. Upon waking up from a horrible dream, he bids good morning to both of his parents. It seems due to certain events he currently lives alone. Responsible for all the chores in the housework, he does this all diligently. Despite having relatives, he has friends and gets along well with them. It seems today he plans to head out buying materials for their Halloween party. Excited, he hurriedly went out, meeting his two friends named Soda Miyanaga and Keitu Awajima. As they venture around, he labels these two as his closest best friends. It seems the three of them plan to have a Halloween party. However, they ponder if they could invite some women to their party, suggesting the Shinjo sisters, as they seems to be the idol of their class. Hearing the name Shinjo made him remember the girls in his dreams earlier. As his friends insists, he asks them to join their party, seeing they live in his neighborhood. He shuts this idea down as those sisters hates men, and according to the rumors of the men who confessed to them, the sisters only talked bad about the men and brushed them off as a pile of dirt met with hostility. Hearing the rumors made his friends to call this out as some kind of joke. But Hayato insists there is nothing wrong with a party between three good friends. As they finished shopping, they all bid farewell, but as he was walking he noticed a family holding hands while enjoying the Halloween season. It seems the siblings made him have a sense of familiarity with their situation, seeing as the Shinjo sisters also lost their father. But having something in common doesn't change anything. As he got near his home, he noticed the front door of the Shinjo family's household was wide open. Curiosity got the best of him. But this sense of dreadful and dark creepy aura suddenly got him spooked. As he went in, he immediately wanted to insist of telling them they forgot to close the door, but upon heading inside he was horrified to hear the shout of a man questioning someone if they don't have any money. This immediately made Hayato to sneak around and be curious all of a sudden. Around looking at the corner, a shocking scene unfolds as a bald-headed man was demanding his desires while holding the mother and daughters captive. Hayato wonders if this was a joke, as this is a terrible thing for anyone. He questioned himself on his best course of action next. Seeing the situation, things might escalate, seeing as the burglar has a knife and might use it before the police arrives. Seeing as the three women who is absence of a father, he put his mind together of doing something quick to de-escalate the situation. We then transition a while earlier, where the two sisters was heading home after going out. They seem to also notice the front door wide open. As the sister headed inside, they were shocked to find a bad bald-headed Doraemon-looking man holding their mother at knife point. It seems he was surprised of how fortunate it was that she had daughters. He ordered them to put their phones down and threatened to do something horrible. He also ordered them to take off their clothes. Not having any other options, they abide to his demands, where it seems he enjoys the show. He commented that their mother was already incredible but sees the daughters to be also high tier. The sisters seems to be in tears, going such hardships for a down-low reason. As he demanded they tie the other sister, he let the mother go of his hands, where he went for the blonde-haired one, pinning her down with a knife near her. As he was about to do something horrible, the black-haired woman called out in tears for someone to help them. Their cries for help made Hayato to be left with no other choice but to take matters into his own hands. Wanting to buy time until the police arrives, he braced himself and put on the mask, asking his deceased parents for strength and the will. With a surprised attack, he launched against the burglar. He inflicted damage and immediately knocked him out cold. As the mother, who looked like Komi-san, calls out for her daughters and rejoice that they were saved. Hayato is at ease that he was able to avoid the worst-case scenario, and for the bad guy, he met his demise as the police shortly arrived. Outside, the police were already waiting, where the MC tied him up and pinned him down. Seeing their savior to be wearing a pumpkin mask, the sisters were happy to see but cried with tears of joy. He tries to assure them that everything would be fine and he wasn't anyone suspicious. He seems to flustered at the sight of them, whereas he handed a blanket to cover them up. An image of their father popped up, making the sisters to see the resemblance for a short bit. As the police headed inside, there was a bit of confusion as he looks totally suspicious wearing a mask and was about to be labeled as the criminal, but the sisters insists he wasn't. Hayato insists of clearing things up outside, but left the sisters in a hurry despite asking for his name. The MC was keen of not showing his face, and doesn't want the sisters to remember this incident if they found out, and to avoid further conflict. The sisters couldn't believe the situation as they eagerly wanted to know the identity of the person who helped them. It seems outside what awaited was gossip of the family not having a man in the house since the father passed away. It seems Hayato wanted the sisters and their mother to worry about their emotions and to get proper rest to see their well-being. As Hayato arrived at the police station, the police started questioning him immediately. It seems they were concerned about him entering a crime scene on his own. This mistake made him to apologize and accept the consequences. It seems he couldn't stand by and watch as something horrible happened to the sisters. The police pardoned this as no one was injured. Seeing him also as a minor, they let him go as his parents would be worried. As the questioning were finished, he finds the situation to be super nervous as it was his first time being questioned. Despite this, he was glad to be able to help the Shinjo family, especially the sisters, as they also didn't discover his face and name, as accepting their gratitude would be too overwhelming. He seems to want to completely disassociate himself from what had happened as he doesn't want to speak with them again. It seems the interrogation left him to go outside when it's already dark out. Back at the Shinjo family, it seems the mother is double-checking the lock on their door, checking it more than 3 times to feel secure, as there is nothing wrong with being extra careful. It seems she also insists her daughters take tomorrow off from school. Despite her mother's words, it seems the sisters insists on going to school. Aina is seen to be entering her old sister's room, where she insists on sleeping together as she looks in distraught. It seems she was disgusted by the man touching her earlier and wanted to rip everything apart. The older sister shares the same feeling as they find men despicable and disgusting beings. Despite their father no longer being here, she screamed deep inside to save them, which to her shock someone answered her call. It seems they are fond of the person with the pumpkin mask. It seems as Hayato the pumpkin person, they immediately knew that it was a man, and seeing his fear they didn't feel disgusted. The sisters wanted things to go back to normal as soon as possible in hopes of finding him. They planned to thank and showed their gratitude for saving them. They wanted to be with him. They are keen of serving him for a lifetime as they avoided a terrible fate. As the night continues, we wonder how things would play out forward, as the sisters are keen of finding out the identity of their savior. As the next morning arrives, the 3 friends were walking to school. It seems his best friends already knew the situation and loudly talked about the incident. They suddenly got interrupted as Aina of the Shinjo family walked past by them, questioning about a pumpkin. This suddenly made Hayato startled, as the MC doesn't want them to find out the real identity. As the sisters swiftly passed them, Aina is seen to be looking back at them, but the MC and his friends were terrified. The MC suddenly got head locked out of jealously questioning when he got close to the famous sisters. Hayato used the excuse of being neighbors but shifted topic, worried for the sisters as they should have stayed home to rest their well-being, calling out how too strong-headed they were. The MC is worried about the safety of the sisters as when he arrived at school, it seems the rumor already started circulating. Things seemingly is going out of control, where he decided to check on the little sister, and upon doing so he finds her chatting nonchalantly and calmly about their situation. It seems they still doesn't know the name or face of their savior. Her friends suggest she date a guy that could protect her, but she brushed this idea off, wanting her savior to be the one she dates. Being energetic today, her friends doubts they were even robbed. Hayato became relaxed as he realized that Aina-san is a girl who managed to stay cheerful despite the hardships they just went through. As their image popped up on his head from yesterday, he panics and decided to eat. In the cafeteria, as he ate silently, the Sanjo sisters suddenly sat near them. His friends looks at him with a jealous and irritated face as they became overwhelmed all of a sudden. He suddenly got surprised as Aina-san looks at him intensely. Hayato tries to brush the idea that he was already found out, giving the idea only because she fixed her posture. Putting this as a coincidence, Aina-san suddenly wonders if the person who saved them was here, seeing how much people are here. The elder sister insists of showing her gratitude. To top this all off, Aina-san exclaims of wanting to have his baby. This suddenly left him to be horrified, leaving in a hurry where they lost their appetite all of a sudden. A fellow classman suddenly came out asking for the elder sister named Arisa to have a moment of her time. Without saying anything, she just went and abide. They all talked of how confident he was confessing to a girl who hates men. Hayato seeing this excuse himself, as he was worried about Arisa-san. Despite seeing this to be nosy, he wanted to be assured that things won't escalate. Confirming this to be a confession, Arisa-san rejected the confession, explaining she already have someone in her heart. This startled Hayato and the guy. He finds this amazing to think a man was capable of making Arisa-san, who hates men, to say something like that. This suddenly made him to ponder who spread the rumor that she hated men, and it's a strategy to reject them. Hayato suddenly felt something behind, where a closer look it was Aina-san asking him to be a good boy and to be quiet. It seems she was also curious about the confession despite knowing the end result anyways. Hayato ponders if Arisa-san hates men. Aina explains she does but already have someone in her heart. It seems he was also caught being nosy, apologizing as he is worried. Hearing this made his image to be a very kind person to be worried. As the commotion of the confession gets louder, the handsome guy seems very persistent. Despite not having a chance, he wanted to give something to Arisa-san. As Aina-san tells him to lean over a little, they wanted to see and hear more of the commotion. She then suddenly leaned forward, also rubbing the giant melons against him. This left him to be dumbfounded as Aina-san teases him even more. It seems she was being too direct, exclaiming of wanting to talk to Hayato. Hearing this made him confused, as she suddenly went drama queen, wanting him to state her last name and asks to be instead called using her first name. Hayato tries to deny her request and teasing. As this ended, it seems Arisa-san ripped up the note of poem the handsome guy gave. It seems Arisa-san is disgusted as she doesn't like people who project their own feelings onto others without being considerate of this person's feelings. Hayato comments of how direct she was. But Aina-san argued the boy was very pushy and selfish, despite that she kindly rejected him. The boy suddenly came running out, crying out. As Aina-san was too close, he suddenly got startled but seeing the box falling onto her. He shielded her, however this suddenly caused a misunderstanding where his hands landed on a fresh live watermelons. His thoughts wander as he finds this incredibly soft and smelling good. Aina-san seeing his daring actions gaze with lovely eyes, as he tries to deny this, claiming it wasn't intentional and an accident. He grabbed her shoulders. Because of this she suddenly laughed crazily, having no doubts that it was him. Filled with emotions, Aina-san suddenly brushed this off, calling herself smiling to be weird. As Hayato questioned what was that all about, she didn't pay much attention, quickly going back to her classroom, asking him to not apologize and wanting to talk next time. The MC could only be stand horrified, doing something indecent towards her, pondering if she was upset. Remembering the sensation, he questioned his actions while running. Later that night, Arisa-san is still seeing, pondering about their savior. Aina-san hugged her as she claims missing their masked savior. It seems Arisa inevitably fell in love with. Aina exclaims no one knows the future and they might see their savior soon. Arisa wanted this to happen and to be used by him. She looked up, wanting to be their savior's slave, giving her heart, body and soul. Aina-san feels the same. Aria's hearing herself tries to calm down and apologize as she couldn't stop thinking about him. She also feels sick remembering what had happened earlier. She then points out Aina-san couldn't tolerate men touching her hand, which she has it harder than her elder sister. As Aina-san excused herself from her older sister, out of sight, she suddenly trembled anxiously as this is the first time she kept a secret from her sister, despite it being unfair. She then suddenly imagined a life with Hayato and the things they could do explicitly in the end, questioning how it would feel to get pregnant with Hayato's child. We then suddenly flash back to when the Shinjo sisters was still in elementary. It's true that they both despise men due to the reason when they were little they were called to the homeroom teacher often. It seems this teacher had a foot thing. At that time they had no idea what was happening, and by the time they figured it out they already became an adult. It seems she was haunted by this throughout high school and hearing the boys talked about them explicitly. This made her sick in tears, questioning why does every man looks at her that way. She decided to not deal with men her whole life. Despite that decision, Hayato-kun made her got through her determination to stay away from men. The next morning Aina-san was in the MC's business, even in the bathroom, greeting him about today's weather. It seems this was probably the best place to meet him. She then got up to his face, exclaiming about the promise of having a chat again, as they headed outside. Arisa-san suddenly noticed the crowd gathering where she stepped in, questioning her of being surrounded by boys. With a glare towards Hayato, she blocked him, asking he shouldn't come closer. As he tries to explain this was a misunderstanding, Arisa could only give him a cold shoulder. However, Aina-san from behind is happy and is smiling to herself as she feels a bit guilty considering she was hiding the truth from her older sister, as it's her privilege to find him first. As Aina, she de-escalates the situation, being apologetic of making her elder sister worry. She looks at Hayato, asking to chat next time again. Hearing this made him flustered, but Arisa-san doesn't seem happy about this, questioning her little sister's demeanor. This ultimately left her to question if Aina is hiding something from her. As physical class starts, Arisa called out to her little sister. But she suddenly saw her running off during class, without even saying a word to her. It seems this was very weird for her, as such things haven't happened until now. As she looks around the corner, she was surprised to see Aina-san tending to the sleeping Hayato under the tree. As he lays in her lap unconsciously, making a pleasant facial expression, Arisa wonders what had happened to her, but it seems Aina wants to go far and uses the MC's hands unknowingly to touch her melons. The MC shortly woke up, startled seeing Aina-san's figure. It seems Hayato stayed up late last night and found a place to rest. For Aina, this was a woman's intuition finding him, but he is worried as she isn't around her sister. Aina brushes this off, wondering if Hayato doesn't like talking to her, which horrified Arisa-san, whom was quietly listening to their conversation from around the corner. After school, as the sister headed home, Hayato's friends comments of how often does Aina-san talks to him today. He gets called out for having to completely change. He denies this as he doesn't know a thing about what girls are thinking, but feels his daily routine has changed a bit. On the flip side, Arisa-san finds the culprit of her little sister's change all of a sudden, reasoning it's due to that man named Hayato. Wanting to save her from her suffering, she plans to handle him in the future. Later that night, Hayato was trying to reenact what had happened when he confronted the burglary. His friends, seeing his figure, claims he certainly looked the part, revealing his stance to be part of his kendo practice back then. It seems the Halloween party is held at Soda's house. He gets called out for having low effort on his costume, as his friends went all out for being a vampire and having to cosplay. For Hayato, he only cared about his auntie's best cooking as it's delicious. Soda's mother came in giving extra large more servings as his mother playful have fun with her son, where Soda sees the resemblance back when he was a child. As Soda expressed his gratitude, Auntie suddenly mentioned that Hayato was recently in a dangerous incident, asking he should always talk if he is troubled by anything. As he tries to direct this situation to his grandparents, his friends interrupts as he doesn't need to do that, as he could consult his close buddies, asking not to be shy. As they shortly play Twisted and have a photo shoot, ending the night. It seems time went fast. Despite not having a curfew, he doesn't feel like hanging out anymore. In the past, he vividly remembers breaking curfew and being scolded. But the warm feeling of being hugged tightly as they were worried about him the whole entire time. This left him with a sharp, painful memory. Although he did make a promise to respect the curfew, he wants to enjoy the Halloween a bit more before heading back. That same street as the whole town is celebrating, Aina is wondering why is Arisa-san looking for a weapon for self-defense. It seems she wanted a tool to chase bad guy as there are individuals aiming for her. It seems Arisa wanted to confront Hayato for messing with her little first-hand plotting schemes to initiate her plans. As they headed into the crowded street filled with Halloween decorations, they spotted a pumpkin where she remembered the incident, thinking of their savior again. As Arisa tries to shift the topic, she suggests that Aina-san is being controlled by Hayato and already seen through everything, wanting to protect her. Hearing this made her to questioning if her elder sister already knew the truth. It seems she already does, but is way far from the truth, as when she questioning her thoughts about Hayato, all Arisa could say was how much of a filthy piece of trash he was. Finding this strange, she eagerly wanted to reveal the truth, but was interrupted as Hayato discovered the sisters standing up close next to him. Seeing this figure suddenly made the MC to run away quickly. Arisa is filled with flowery thoughts and is emotionally obsessed, chasing away the pumpkin mask man and even grabbing his dropped weapon. Aina-san suddenly accepts the shorty time she has Hayato for all herself, and seeing the situation to be unavoidable, they pincer move against him and cornered Hayato, moving him to a place for questioning. In the park bench, the two sisters cornered the pumpkin man, where Hayato wants to come up an explanation to avoid any further escalation. Arisa revealed wanting to finally talk to her savior and expressed her gratitude. She then demands asking her name. He reveals this to be Jack, where Aina-san is laughing controllably silently. As the conversation goes on more, she let out her laughter, revealing his true identity to be Hayato, as Arisa tries to deny this as Hayato is the villain who tricked her, venting her frustration of hating that man. The pumpkin mask suddenly came off, where Hayato is apologizing as he looks into her eyes filled with horror. Aina-san all along knew it was him. Arisa could only ponders of how badly she treated her savior and the things she said. It seems she couldn't forgive herself for doing this. With lovely eyes filled with obsession, she asks to be taken as a slave and to be dedicated body, heart and soul towards Hayato. Hearing this completely shocked him, as he didn't expect things would turn out like this. For Arisa-san, the moment her life was saved from despair, it was at this moment she fell in love with him, wanting to do whatever he wished for her, giving herself all to Hayato. It seems she has been praying for this moment ever since they were saved. She then announced that she wanted to be treated like an object and use her like a tool. The embarrassment Hayato felt from her words left him anxious, as her mood suddenly changed, as a moment ago she was deeply mad at him. Hearing his words made her to apologize profusely, knowing her mistake of insulting him, as it was all a misunderstanding. As she pleads of atoning her mistakes for a lifetime, Hayato brushed this off, claiming he already did something weighing more than that, seeing himself in no position to be given gratitude. The Shinjo sisters claims his words is not true. They then hugged him from both sides, making it too much for the MC to handle two melons. As they asked to be called by their first names, which he asks to be in their care from now on, this instantly made the two sisters to deeply feel pleasure in being called by Hayato. This weird reaction confused Hayato, as they wanted to go home and change clothes. As they walked home together, that night Arisa deeply imagines of being Hayato's slave while touching the crevices of her desires, looking forward to seeing him tomorrow. That same evening, as Hayato was once again dreaming, as he drowns deeper and deeper into the sisters' love. As the morning arrives, he doesn't feel too well, where his mind got occupied getting called out from a distance. It seems the two sisters decide to greet Hayato first thing in the morning, making him check if he was still dreaming. It seems all is well as long as they go to a place they want to attract attention. As a teenager, being greeted by two beauties is too much even for him. They soon discussed if he has any question, especially asking for their personal measurements. Shocked to hear this, it seems Arisa could only give him two options with the same answer. They then happily revealed from top to bottom, causing Hayato to warn them of not say as to carelessly. It seems he was an important person to them, thus revealing it is not much to ponder. They also revealed that their mother would want to meet and express her gratitude towards him. As they headed off to school bidding farewell, Hayato is left with no other choice as the two sisters came like a storm.